Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. You're invited to check out our show on YouTube. You'll find a great selection of videos like Reese on Real Estate and the Fed's View on commercial real estate. You're invited to subscribe so you don't miss a show of special interest to you. Just visit YouTube and search for the channel Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, today we're discussing best practices to sell your professional services, and we have Rod Santomassimo here in the studio with us in Atlanta. And Rod, I love your book, The Brokers Who Dominate, and you have a lot of traits in there of successful brokers. Can you tell us about some of the key traits of these successful salespeople?
Certainly, there's no doubt. We call it, it's more, think of DART, D-A-R-T, of those traits. They all don't necessarily line up, but number one would be discipline. There's no doubt. Discipline is tough. It's tough to be disciplined. It's hard to be disciplined. It takes work.
It took discipline to get out of bed this morning. Are you kidding me?
And most of these businesses we're talking about today, especially in the commercial real estate sector, it's not an easy job. It's not even a job. It's a career. Yeah. So it takes a lot of discipline and many, many factors. Number two would be you have to be assertive. We find top producers. Now, we can work around not being assertive from a natural behavior standpoint, but there has to be an assertive approach to your business. Not aggressive. There's a difference. There's a big difference, but you have to be assertive. Of the four, I'd say three would be relationships. You have to have the key relationships. We talked about presence earlier, but really the key relationships to leverage and really truly leverage them to make your business grow. And those relationships are both internal and external. We'll talk about that a little bit on the fourth one, and that's a team. Everybody needs a team. And I don't care if it's a single individual producer sitting in a bullpen. He or she needs a team. If that's an outsourced person across the globe, that's their team member to start off, so be it. But everyone needs a team.
Well, let's talk about teams a little bit, because I think a lot of people are interested in that. So what you're saying is, even if you're a sole agent at a company and you don't have a team per se, that you can use outside sources, so that if you need desktop publishing, or you need coaching, or you need research, there's ways to get that and create your own team.
Absolutely. When you look at what you do every day, and you talked about working in the business and never working on the business, and all you're doing is chasing transactions and deals and opportunities, because you don't really understand the power of delegation. I listened to Malcolm Gladwell last night on not as good a show, but the second best show, and Malcolm Gladwell's the second best host, I guess, after you. But he really talked about those that really succeed, those that move forward, and we find it to be true with our clients as well. They agree, they understand and accept delegation and how it empowers them to grow their business.
Okay. And in commercial real estate, and I guess that it's also happened in residential real estate, that there are internal teams where you'll have a couple rainmakers, and they'll have an analyst, and they'll have business generation folks and transaction management. Tell us a little bit about those teams and some advantages of those teams.
Well, we really work with clients across North America, and they have teams as large as we have one client with a team of 20, and he's at the top, and he does certain level of goals and of opportunities, and it's actually a tiered system down a pyramid of a branch of what size deals they all work on. They all have certain roles, but they all work on certain deals. Then we have teams. We have a team in New York that has 11 people. They all have specific roles. There's one or two rainmakers, some producers, some fulfillers, some graphic designers, but they're different. But overall, you see teams of 3 to 5 potentially working on different roles of find, win, fulfill, that continuum of business of find, win, fulfill, and they specialize in one of those 3 or 2 pillars, and the team rolls and works that way.
Okay. So let's talk about the members of that team. So let's say that I'm a rainmaker, and I think I need a team. Who do I need? I don't need 3 more rainmakers, right?
You don't need 3 more rainmakers, and no, because we're
just golfing buddies.
We're just golfing buddies, right? And that's all we are, right? We're like kind folks, and so that's why I found in building my team, I found people that did things that were much brighter than I am in anything, and that doesn't take too much, Michael. It really doesn't. And number 2 is they really had a passion for doing that thing, whether it be marketing or accounting or fulfilling or facilitating. And the same with teams of, if you're a mortgage broker or an attorney or a real estate broker, figure out what you're passionate about and what, more importantly, makes you money. I mean, Michael, if you love to do marketing stuff all day long. That's great, but is it going to make you money, right? So let's focus on things that are going to make you money and then delegate from there.
Okay, and let's look back at those brokers that you write about in your book. When you look at them as a whole, what were some of the traits that you think that really helped them in their business behavior, if you will, that helped make them successful?
Well, I'll go back to I don't want to pick one trait over the other because there's all 8 so important. But sometimes we feel like we're going to get in shape, right? I'm going to get in shape. Yeah. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm getting in shape this year. This is the year. Yeah. And so we go to the gym, we get P90X, we do something crazy, right? And we hurt ourselves. But it works after a while. Something that doesn't work. We find these top producers, it's never an option. It's a way of life. It's a natural behavior. They get up early. They make 200 calls a week. Yes, top producers making 200 calls a week, whatever it might take, because they know this one key trait is going to have a major impact on their production. So that discipline, I would say, Michael, of all of them is the one I would just shout out immediately.
Well, that's amazing. I talked to a group of brokers at one point, and they talked about why some bright guys that MBAs and well-educated, great guys that were getting into commercial real estate and failing. And one of the consensus of the group was that they thought they had a job, and that they were coming in when the staff got there and the staff left, and they just weren't making it. But then you turn around and ask these guys who are making lots of money, and you ask them how many hours they're working, and even though they're at a huge success level in their business, they're working 60 or 70 hours a week, but they're loving it. They're having fun. So we'll talk about balance. We'll talk about some more success strategies for business development and salespeople, since we have Rod Santomassimo here with the Massimo Group. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you in part by your friends at Bull Realty. When your business requires proven performance, visit bullrealty.com or call 800-408-BULL. Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'd like to announce a new service that we have on the show. It's called Ask Michael Bull. Every business day, I will answer a listener question on video. You can check it out at the Twitter account, Ask Michael Bull, or on the YouTube channel, Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, today we're discussing best practices to sell your professional services with Rod Santomassimo. And Rod, one thing I've noticed that regardless of the industry, sports or what have you, it seems to be the real top producers that are already top producers are the ones that hire coaches, not as much, it seems, as the lower tier people. Why is that?
I think it's twofold. Number one, top producers, top athletes, they're just not satisfied. They always want to get better. I mean, hitting goals is nice to these folks, but we can do more. There's always more. And I like that. I mean, I'm a little bit like that. I know you're like that, where we have success, but we can always do more. So that's one reason. Number two is top producers realize it's an investment in a great asset themselves. Whereas sometimes those that aren't producing as well think, well, it's kind of an expense and I can't afford it. And that's not the approach, the perspective, or in fact, the reality of what coaching is all about. It's an investment.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting. I mean, you look back at Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, who were great at basketball, and they hired their own personal coaches on top of that. And I read about a great insurance agent who was making tons and tons of money and was very top of his game, but he hired a coach, and that coach wasn't going to help him learn how to sell insurance, but he was going to hold him accountable, right?
Exactly.
That's a great thing. Well, if you're a motivated salesperson, business generation person, what should be your favorite radio show?
Well, this should be your favorite radio show. Let's get that straight. Okay, Commercial Real Estate Show should be the number one. But after that, then certainly it's WIFM. What's in it for me, and not me, the individual salesperson, but actually for my client. And you think in that term, because everyone has that station. So everything you do, everything you put out, every marketing piece, every presence piece, every prospecting initiative, you should understand that your targeted audience, all they care about, besides your show, Michael, is WIFM, what's in it for me. And that's true.
Well, I think that's great advice. I mean, I'll see people who do a transaction-based letter or their bio or something. They just start to make, I do this and my company's great and all this. Well, that's not what people want to hear. They want to know what's the benefit to them to read or talk to you, right?
Right. Absolutely true.
So Rod, let's end this show with a great tip for people who are in sales and business generation. What kind of closing tip would you have for them?
Well, it comes down to the investment, and we talked about it. There's no greater asset that any salesperson or business owner has. It is just absolutely true than themselves. That is their greatest asset, themselves. And do they choose to invest in that or not? And invest in many ways. Get a partner, get an accountability partner, get a coach, or invest in a program of self-education, whatever it might be, but invest in yourself, because number one, it'll be the highest return. It absolutely empirically shown to be the highest return of your investment dollars. And number two, it's the least risky investment you can make, because you control it. You control that return completely based on your actions. No one else.
Yeah, because you're not counting on anyone else. You're counting on yourself. Well, that's interesting. As I had a broker tell me he was coming that works at my shop and said, I'm investing in this real estate. And I said, well, what's your return going to be? Oh, maybe 12 or 14%. I said, what if you spent that same amount of money on your own business? Where do you think return would be? He thought about it, said, probably 100.
Exactly. Absolutely true.
So whether you're investing in that team that is outsourced, or maybe you're investing in coaching, or maybe you're investing in training, maybe you're investing in software, it could be anything, right?
Anything. Absolutely anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rod, thanks for joining us today. We sure appreciate your insight.
Always my pleasure, Michael. Thank you.
Well, I recommend the Massimo Group if you're in any sales or business generation position. And if you'd like more from Rod, visit massimo-group.com. That's massimo-group.com. Well, I'd like to invite you to join me next week. I'll share my top 10 strategies for success for commercial agents. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm Michael Bull. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by your friends at Bull Realty, France Medio, Atlanta Office Liquidators, and Wiseman, Nowak, Curry, and Wilco. For more information about these companies or to access additional show podcasts, videos, or blogs, visit commercialrealestateshow.com.